And so the attacks are going to intensify on this operation, especially as everything we talked about and all of our expert guests have talked about comes true. The credibility level, no matter how radical and wild this broadcast sounds, continues to be vindicated and borne out by things that are happening currently on the geopolitical scene. The globalists have miscalculated for the last 50 years, saying there's no world government, private central banks don't have fractional reserve banking, they're not engaged in a global takeover, and now they're publicly saying it's a global takeover, a world government for your own good. And because we were there exposing them, people out there fighting the New World Order before I was even born 36 years ago, and being laughed at and ridiculed and called names and set up and demonized and imprisoned, because the great patriots of this nation, of every race, color, and creed, were telling the truth. We now are in a fighting position. We are now in a position to defeat these people if we take the initiative. I just got chills when I said that, because this is history that is unfolding right now. All right, here's the news. President Nicolas Sarkozy threatens to pull out of France out of the euro. President Nicolas Sarkozy threatens to pull France out of euro. London Telegraph. What did Webster Griffin Tarpley say on this radio show on Tuesday? He said he's looking for Sarkozy to pull out. Right again, just pointing out that the guests we have here have stunning analysis abilities, just incredible. So that's going on. Trilateral Commission wants war with Iran. We're about to cover that in a moment. You heard me right. Trilateral Commission wants war with Iran. This dovetails with Reuters. Israel primed for war with Iran. Netanyahu. Have any idea what's going to happen on that front? U.S. faces same problems as Greece, says Bank of England, that the U.S. may go down. Red alert. European power brokers present proposal for new economic and political order, world order. PrisonPlanet.com. CEO predicts market Armageddon, Dow down to 5,000, red alert. It is all coming up, but I wanted to bring Paul Joseph Watson up. We're going to work on getting Jim Tucker on, but also the We Are Change member. Look how We Are Change just continues to get key news out. And the Love Police, a kind of spinoff of We Are Change, going into press conferences and pointing out that the election in England was totally rigged, where all the candidates were basically selected by the globalists. That made national news. We Are Change in Dublin, standing up to David Rockefeller, pointing out he won't get his world government a week ago before they plunged Europe by design. That's made international news. So just devastating the enemy on every front by injecting the truth that the king has no clothes, that the emperor is butt naked. But we have a PrisonPlanet.com article about this top story. Trilateral Commission wants war with Iran. Trilateral Commission member unwittingly tells We Are Change activists of plans for world government. This is so important and up on PrisonPlanet.com and Infowars.com right now. Let's go to the head editor over at PrisonPlanet.com, Paul Joseph Watson, joining us from England. Paul, break this down for us.
Yeah, this is a report by Jim Tucker out of the American Free Press about the recent Trilateral Commission meeting which took place last week in Dublin. And as we know, the Trilateral Commission is the sister group to Bilderberg. It's the entree to Bilderberg. Routinely happens about a month or 3 weeks before Bilderberg meet. And they kind of set the agenda for what Bilderberg are going to discuss. And because it's a less influential organization, although it still has many of the same members, the security around the Trilateral Commission meetings is not as intense as it is at Bilderberg, which is why, as we saw earlier this week, the Sovereign Independent Group in Ireland were able to confront David Rockefeller, who's the chairman of the Trilateral Commission, both outside the building and inside the building where they were having dinner after one of their meetings. So now we have this story which Tucker writes about today, where a chief advisor to the Russian government, Mikhail Slobodovsky, was not confronted but just got into a conversation with a We Are Change Ireland member named Alan Keenan. And this Russian, Slobodovsky, mistakenly thought he was talking to a fellow Trilateral Commission member, because he later mentioned the fact that he was under Chatham House rules, which means they can't discuss anything outside their own inside circle. But he fooled him. How he did it, I don't know. Obviously, you probably get him on the show, and he'll be able to go into it in more detail.
Yeah, we're trying to contact different We Are Change groups over there this morning via your recommendation, Paul. Continue.
But he got into a conversation with this trilateral member who basically told him, and this is what Tucker quotes, quote, "We are deciding the future of the world. We need a world government." And referring to Iran, he said, quote, "We need to get rid of them." And then, quote, "Suddenly Slobodovsky noticed that Keenan's name tag was different from the TC label, Trilateral Commission label, and said, 'I can't talk. We operate under Chatham House rules.'" So he suddenly realized that he wasn't a fellow member, and he shut up pronto. But just that revelation, A, that we're deciding the future of the world, we need a world government, and B, again, they're talking about a war with Iran, is an alarming revelation, because as Tucker explains in the rest of the article, and as we've seen unfolding over the past few weeks, their agenda to exploit the financial crisis to enact global government by posing as the saviors is failing. The EU is collapsing. We now have Paul Volcker, the former Fed chairman, as well as Romano Prodi, and as you said earlier, Sarkozy threatening to quit the euro. Top financial experts, Jim Rogers, numerous others, are saying that basically the euro is in big trouble. Today it's hit a low against the dollar that hasn't been seen since the collapse of Lehman Brothers. Many people saying it's going to parity with the dollar, which hasn't happened for roughly 8 years. And it's in big trouble, and that matters because the euro was sold on the basis that an entire continent using one currency would provide stability. But as we've seen with the situation in Greece, the opposite has proven to be the case, because when one country gets sick, they all get sick. It's contagious. Now we're talking about Portugal, Spain, and Italy going the same way as Greece. They're going to have massive debt burdens which they can't deal with.